This is Valley News Live at 10.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Wadena County. An officer has been shot and 2 suspects are dead after a shootout. It happened around 9:30 at 205th Avenue and 270th Street. Shots were fired after a vehicle chase. The officer's injuries don't appear to be life-threatening, and the BCA is heading to the scene. We have a reporter heading there now. Authorities tell us more information will be coming soon. Stick with Valley News Live for updates on this breaking story. The FDA has approved the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine for emergency use. It's the third to hit the U.S. in the fight against the pandemic, and it's a single-dose vaccine. The decision comes one day after an advisory committee voted in favor of the vaccine. An estimated 4 million doses are expected to be shipped out Monday. Johnson & Johnson says 20 million doses will be available by the end of March. The Cheyenne High School assistant principal has been arrested for a DUI and DUI refusal. The West Fargo School District tells us Nathan Schleicher will return to work this week, saying in part in a statement, decisions regarding potential action will be made once an outcome is determined in his case. An accident near Harwood is holding up traffic along I-29 tonight. Around 8:30, traffic was backed up as much as 3 miles in the northbound lane. We're still waiting to hear from authorities. For your crime alert tonight, police are looking for a gunman after an 18-year-old was shot in Warhead. It happened yesterday afternoon in the 1900 block of 41st Avenue South. The victim was taken to the hospital after he was shot in his lower abdomen. The man, who police say is responsible, took off. And in Fargo, police are still looking for Brandon Grant, who is accused of shooting 3 people at a downtown bar. Grant is considered armed and dangerous. He's accused of attempted murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. If you see him, call police. A 21-year-old man is seriously hurt after driving into a tree head-on early this morning. Authorities say Zachary Fincher was on Highway 81 near Minto when he lost control of his SUV. Fincher is facing possible charges. He was not wearing a seatbelt and was taken to All True Hospital. Today, Iran condemned deadly U.S. airstrikes on Iranian-backed militia targets in Syria. President Biden ordered the strikes in retaliation for recent attacks in Iraq, the latest involving U.S. coalition forces. NBC's Ali Aruzio reports.
President Biden launched his first military strike of his presidency, and it was in response to a series of attacks in Iraq by Iranian-backed militias, the last of which killed a contractor and injured a U.S. service member. They were launched on the early hours of Friday morning. 2 F-15Es were flown along the Syrian-Iraqi border, and they targeted facilities on the Syrian side. 7 missiles were launched, destroying 9 buildings and damaging 2 others. The Pentagon says that there were valuable capabilities in these facilities. The Syrian Observatory of Human Rights say 22 people were killed, but a militia commander says only 1 person was killed. What is for sure is that Tehran is up in arms. They are calling it an illegal act of aggression, and they say that the United States should adhere to UN Security Council's resolutions regarding Syria. This is Joe Biden telling Tehran that he wants to resolve the nuclear program diplomatically, peacefully, but at the same time, he's not going to tolerate any attacks on U.S. assets in the region. Ali Aruzzi, NBC News, London.
As millions of Americans wait for their chance to get the COVID-19 vaccine, a lucky few are getting bumped to the front of the line. Some local clinics are scrambling to get rid of extra doses that would otherwise go to the trash at the end of the day. Clinics are keeping a waiting list of those who've called previously seeking the vaccine.
Rather than waste a dose, we will contact those folks, and if they're able to come over, within a few minutes, maybe up to a half an hour, then we can at least vaccinate another person.
Health officials say they do what they can to give those extra doses to those in the required tier, but they say getting a dose in anyone's arm is better than throwing it out. As of today, 10% of North Dakotans have been fully vaccinated, according to the state health department. That's about 70,000 people, and nearly 20% of North Dakotans have received at least 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. For the latest COVID vaccine information, use our VNL vaccine tracker. Visit our website or open your phone camera and point it at the QR code on your screen. Tap the link that pops up. Frostival is coming to a close this weekend, and one of the final events was the Youth Ice Fishing Derby. Our Aaron Walling was out there today at South Woodhaven Pond.
Despite the chilly temps and the brisk breeze, the Frostival continued with the Youth Ice Fishing Derby out at the South Woodhaven Pond. Kids flocked to the neighborhood fishing spot to grab some sun and get some fish. Event specialist Stephanie D'Ambrosio says that safety is important to them.
Our first priority is obviously always safety. So, we go above and beyond to make sure that when we're putting these events on, it is safe for these kids. And it means a lot. We want kids to be able to come out and experience all these great things that we have to offer. So it's really cool to see everyone come out and enjoy it and, catch a couple fish.
According to D'Ambrosio, Frostival has been great for families and for them, and that it's amazing to host events for kids.
I think the community really, really likes the different events we put on, and something like this where they have that opportunity to try something different, something that they don't always get to do, is really cool. It means a lot to us.
Putting events on for kids has been tricky since the pandemic started last year, but for people like D'Ambrosio, it's nice to give families an opportunity to get out and have some fun.
It's a really fun event. It gives families an opportunity to come out and try.
The final event for the 2021 Frostival starts tomorrow at 10 at Lindenwood Park for youth pond hockey. During elections, North Dakota's vote totals are displayed on the Secretary of State's website. Some lawmakers want to change that for one offense, the president's. The bill would hide the total votes cast for candidates. It would allow percentages to be released only after votes are canvassed. State lawmakers are trying to make voting easier for college students. A bill would allow the Board of Higher Education to print ID cards for students with their college addresses. Those cards could be used as a valid voter identification.
Say you are from Bismarck and attending school in Grand Forks, and you wish to vote in the college precinct in Grand Forks and claim that as your residence, but you haven't updated your driver's license yet. This is kind of in lieu of a utility bill to prove that what your new address is.
These IDs would not qualify for out-of-state students who wish to vote absentee in their home state. The bill passed 87-7. More lawmakers are calling for the resignation of Dickinson Republican Representative Luke Simmons. In a statement, Grand Forks Republican Representative Emily O'Brien says Simmons harassed her, saying in part she had to move her desk away from him on the House floor. Lawmakers say they're preparing to start the expulsion process if he doesn't resign before Wednesday. Later on Valley News Live at 10, researchers are pointing to a bad habit they say is responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths. And if you woke up wondering what happened to our 40 degrees, you're not the only one. Summer will be in with a look at your Saturday evening forecast right after this.